Morning, everyone. I hope you can hear me okay today. I hope the sound's a wee bit clearer. New mic in front of me. As you can see, I now look like every other vlogger and podcaster. I've got a pointy big mic in front of my face. So hopefully it's working and things are clearer. So if somebody can drop a wee comment into the comments to let me know that the mic is working okay. I do appear to sound fine in the studio. So I hope everything's all right. So somebody please tell me the volume's okay. And it is much better. Thank you, Melanie. Okay, let's have a quick look who's in. We've got Melanie, John Dockery, June Dalrymple, Kirsty. No, here we go. It's moving fast. We've got Kirsty Foggs in. We've got Neil McLean in. Graham Beanie's in. Ted Boy's in. Doug Coop's in. Margaret Mackay's in. Stevie Charlton's in. And you've got the calls, Stevie. Hope you get Eric soon. I'm a bit chesty myself, actually, to be honest, but that's normal for me at this time of year. I work in a wet environment. Morning, Rosie. Morning, John Baxter. Morning, Desiree. Morning, Paul Rankin. Morning, Last Braveheart. Morning, Peter M. Morning, Hootsman. Ackies. It seems to be everybody saying, oh, good morning, Reagan Elite. Oh, Reagan Elite, if you're on after me and you're going to be covering the BBC today, there's something very interesting there on the construction industry, which will affect you directly in England, where there's plans to build 1.5 million homes over the next 5 years. You might find that interesting, worth looking at, Reagan Elite. So in the politics section of the BBC website, fascinating read. It's got to do with the S&P PMI. That's Purchasing Managers Index. It's a fascinating read, young fella. All right, we're up the 100 mark, so let's get this one underway, shall we? Indy Truck Davy out the truck and at home in his office on the 5th to the 12th, 2025, where it is 5 degrees, overcast, dry at the moment, but rain in the forecast. Today's high will be 7 degrees. Humidity is at 73%, so there's a wee bit drier today. Thank you, Kirsty. And wind speed between 7 and sort of 17 miles an hour, 19 miles an hour. And the pollen count doesn't count. It's that time of year where it doesn't bother anybody. Okay. Right, first up this morning, we've got the Scotsman, so let's get it up. And what's the Scotsman got for us today? Starmer brands Farage toxic in Glasgow school pupil row. Now, that is Starmer in the East End of Glasgow in a community centre. And I'll tell you, if I was working in that community centre, I'd have down tools and get out. So I would have. I'd have down tools and left. How that man can be sitting there looking happy, smiling, and all that when you consider what he's put people through. Forced 450,000 children into poverty. Started off by freezing grandma. Totally throwing the waspy women under a bus. And is complicit in the genocide in Gaza. And yet here he is sitting there as if he's not a care in the fucking world. I couldn't be around it. The stench of it must be awful. The stench of death follows that thing around. And of course, in the picture, William's the other Muppet. Right, next up, we'll get the Herald. So let's get the Herald up. Let's get the same image. PM brands Farage toxic over attack on Glasgow. Now, this, folks, if you didn't see the programme yesterday afternoon, has to do with the fact that 28.6% of school kids in Glasgow don't have English as their first language. Fair whack aim will be us Scots, especially the Gaelic speakers in the Greater Glasgow area. And of course, as I said yesterday, the rest of us don't speak fucking English. Okay. Getting hard to get up. Sorry, folks, I'm trying to adjust to having this thing in front of my face. Now I look as poncy as all the rest of them. Wow. I'll need to move my camera so I don't have to look at the bloody thing on the screen. Right, done with the Herald. Next up, we've got the Guardian. And what's the Guardian got for us today? Well, the Guardian tells us that Farage is having a go as he's been called out for racism in his youth. You know, Farage hits out at fresh claims of vindictive teenage racism emerges. Doesn't he emerge? We've known about it forever. It's been out there in the public realm forever. Christ, a letter for his school teacher. Can't even mind what her name is off the top of my head now. Complaining to the principal of the college that they were going to make him a prefect. You know, and in that letter, which has been in the public realm for a long time, she describes how he's a fucking fascist and a racist. Well, these are no fresh claims. They've been around forever. Next up, we get a Daily Fail. What's the fail got for us today? And I don't like talking about Froggy Farage. I try my best to ignore him. He's not really a big part of public life here in Scotland. Although he is creeping in. Number of Scots. Sorry, it shouldn't be that one. It should be their answer, but we'll go with this one now. Number of Scots hospitalised soars by 70% amid worst outbreak. Doctors warning as Scotland hit by deadly flu crisis. And of course, they want everybody to go out and get vaccinated. It will give you immunity to the new strain, but it should lessen the effects of it. And apparently, this new strain of flu is absolutely deadly. And apparently, COVID's making a comeback here as well. As I said yesterday afternoon, folks, it's interesting, isn't it? We've done away with all the smog and all the smoking. And here we are in the middle of a respiratory crisis. Absolutely. Absolutely fascinating stuff. Somebody needs to do a scientific study into that. Right, done with the fail, we'll get the rancid. And I'll tell you what's in the rancid. The rancid has crash death son fury. You rats. Family hits out as pair found guilty of killing mum in high-speed crash. Now, apparently, folks, I don't put it up, but there's an image of two men and a woman on the front of the rancid. And the two men were racing each other at up to 110 mile an hour when they whacked this woman's car. I hope they give them a long sentence. I hope they get a long sentence. You don't get any more unresponsible on the roads. The roads is a serious fucking business. A serious business. Take it from me as a professional driver. These strips of concrete and tarmac out there don't actually hurt anybody. It's the people, the machines that they're operating. It's not the strips. And that's the most irresponsible thing I've heard in fucking years. Two clowns, by the way, they weren't the young men, they were about my age. Two clowns racing their fancy cars at 110 mile an hour round public highways. Fucking no real. Right, next up we've had the fail, so let's go on. It should be the Express, I think, next. The Looney Rag. Let's have a look. Lovely. Yep, the Looney Rag, the Express. Here we go. Experts urge people to get jab after unprecedented early surge in cases. Fears of worse flu wave to strike NHS this winter. I think some of this is exaggerated by the fact that a lot of people didn't have contact with each other for a couple of years, so our immune systems were run down. As I say, when we were all isolating from each other and keeping distances from each other, obviously, our immune system started to get a wee bit suppressed. We're not coming across the ordinary, everyday germs that we normally cope with. That could be exacerbating the situation we find ourselves in now. But the stats are not looking good. And I see there's a similar headlines in England today, because as you imagine, I've been up since 6 o'clock this morning. I went through the English headlines first. And there are similar stories south of the border as well. This flu season appears to be really, really serious. And we're going to lose an awful lot of old folk this time round again. Right, after the Express, we have the Scum. And as you know, I don't put the Scum up. What's the Scum got for us today? Well, let's own a celebrity story. And it's got Master Chef grief. John Trudeau. I'm in therapy over TV acts. Who gives a shite? Who cares? You're in therapy over TV acts. Just go and get another job. Spanner. Go back to doing whatever it was you did before TV. I would assume it was chefing. Right, after the Scum, we have the Telegraph, which isn't much better. What's the Telegraph got for us this morning? Lammy breaks ranks on Brexit. The Lammy says joining the customs union, or joining a customs union, would boost growth. There is a little bit of truth in that. It would boost growth. But Starmer says no. And you don't know how the EU would react, knowing that at the next general election, there could be a fascist, anti-EU fascist in charge in the UK. Racist fascist, actually. It's another interesting story down that road. Their version of ICE, which the border control agencies turning into, are lifting Uber Eat cyclists off the street. Wow. And apparently 8,100 people were deported last year for working illegally. That's just the amount that were deported for working illegally. 40 odd quid a week's not going to sustain these people. We expect them to make a living. A better idea. How about when they get here? We let them work during the period when we decide whether they're going to get to stay or not. You need to excuse that, folks. I've got notifications on because I don't know how to switch them fucking off. Right, so Lammy wants to get into a customs union. The rest of Starmer Disney. And with Farage coming down the line at a rapid rate of knots, unless he gets derailed, then the EU is not interested. The EU is just not bloody interested. All right. Next up, we've got National. The National states the bloody obvious to anybody who's been paying the slightest bit of attention of what's going on in the Middle East. But we'll put it up. The National tells us a ceasefire in name only. We publish a timeline of the ongoing violence in Gaza since a ceasefire was agreed, as Netanyahu's brutal apartheid regime genocide continues to claim lives. And the section below gives you the dates, gives you the date the ceasefire started, right up until November 5th is the figures they've got. And that's the names of all the casualties. Doesn't look much like a ceasefire to me. But the National is stating the obvious to absolutely anybody that's paying attention at this point in time. Where's Charlie Melanie? He's over there munching away at his treats. He might put in an appearance, I don't know. Although he's not got long to do it. After the National, we've got the Metro. Reds under the beds against kids. Reds under the bed. So the Metro has PM's warning after Novichok report blames Putin. Okay. Russian threat is in UK now. Well, you can blame the Conservative Party for that. They snuggled up to the Russians. They even stuck one in the Lords. And with Bojo going to his boonga boonga parties in Italy, dumping the security detail to go and party with the Kremlin. And KGB officers and ex-KGB officers. Don't forget about Lord Lebedek of Siberia sitting in the UK House of Parliament. So if we have to fear the Russians, we can blame the Conservative and Unionist Party for that. So we can. But Putin was always going to be a threat. The way the Conservatives get ruined, Russia being a threat, was to cuddle up to Putin and his oligarchs. What do you think Bojo was doing going to these bunga bunga parties? Apart from being a fucking pervert. Right, the Metro done. Next up, we'll get Times. No, I had to go down south to get the Times because that wasn't featuring in the Scottish paper review today. No fucking chance. No, after the article it run, basically demonising school kids in Glasgow, talking about how these children are taking up too much resources. Immigration again, eh? Yeah. Immigration's a good thing. It's a bit like taxation. Taxation provides good services. Immigration provides good cultural experiences. And by fuck, it didn't have to make the food here in the UK better. That's for sure. Right, what was that I just had up? The Times? No, I haven't got it yet. I was just telling you I had to go to England to get it, didn't I? But imagine demonising kids for using too much resources, for fuck's sake. Deal to give frozen 8 billion from Russians to Ukraine. So all these assets belonging to the Russians, which have been frozen by Westminster, they're going to be handed over to the Ukrainians to the tune of 8 billion. That'll piss Putin off. That'll really piss him off. Jesus, I've got boxes popping up everywhere, and no idea how to get them fucking down now. I can't see my screen. Sorry, folks. Technical difficulties. That's better. Get rid of it now. But will this annoy the very oligarchs which Putin, which Bojo and the Conservative Party was sucking up to? Of course it will. It's their bloody money. Of course it was. It's their money. Might find there's a lot more palladium getting battered into cups of tea down that fucking road. Perfume bottles full of Novichok being left lying around certain people's vicinity because The current UK government's about to give away the money of the oligarchs, which the previous UK government sucked up to. Wow. I wonder how many will get taken out for that if the Russians are already here. Right, next up should be the eye. I went to England for that one and all because it wasn't in the newspaper review here. Ignorant to call Labour Party Ignorant to call Labour the party of welfare, claims Cabinet Minister. And it's Liz Kendall, and she's Westminster's poverty czar, child poverty czar. And she says that Labour are a party of the working and no the party of benefits. Well, they better get their fucking head wrapped around being the party of benefits. Because this is a shrinking economy. Unemployment in England is up. It's at 5% and growing. As the contraction in the economy continues apace. I was just advising young Reagan Elite there to go and have a look at the construction industry report on the BBC. Now, in the S&P Procurement Managers Index, or Purchasing Managers Index, whatever way you want to put it, in the construction sector, anything 50 or under is a contracting a sector. Well, for 2022, where it was 44.1%, which is way below the 50, it is now at 39.1%. There's not enough construction workers to build the government's target housing down that road. And the construction industry is laying off at a rapid rate of knots. So if they're no the party of benefits, they better get their fucking head wrapped around being the party of benefits, because the dole queue is about to become miles longer down that road. And it will eventually come north. Whereas their unemployment figures went up by 0.2% at the last release of stats, your unemployment figure went down 0.1%. Your unemployment's at 3.7%. Their unemployment's at 5%. But with the contracting market that they fucking idiots in Westminster have created, it's coming here and all. So the current administration better get their head wrapped around the idea that they are a party providing plenty of fucking benefits. As people lose their jobs and despair hits. Because if they're no, then homelessness, because nobody will afford to pay their rent or their mortgages, and starvation, malnutrition, is going to fucking rocket, and it's already on the rise. I mean, after all, we're giving money to food banks every fucking month just to try and help the people here in Scotland. It's a lot worse down that road, remember. Their poverty figures makes us look good up here. So the day. But if Liz Kendall thinks they're no the party of benefits, they're the party of workers, would you even all the workers become unfucking-employed? There's no holding on to a vote base if everybody's on the brew and you're not providing benefits. Wow. Wow. So Labour are not the party of welfare, claims Cabinet Minister. Well, she better get her fucking headroom. They're becoming it with this contracting economy. Bash the benefit claimants. Don't blame the people who fucked the economy so that there's no jobs out there for these people to get. Oh. It's to despair at the level of ignorance. I hit the like button, folks, thanks. What does I say? Folks, the welfare state is going to have to be robust. Just as well, Rachel's went and taken an extra 30 billion out of taxpayers' pockets because she's going to need it to cover the benefit bill. We've got 1,000 jobs a month gone in the oil and gas sector. It's just as bad in the construction sector, folks. It's just as bad in the construction sector. There's a way to get this flatlining economy going because there is no outward growth. We're going to need inward investment. We're getting none of them. None of them. And that's why these fucks are just economically illiterate. Economically illiterate. Invest in your people and your economy will flourish. Invest in infrastructure because there's no cost to it. Your economy will flourish. But too thick, eh? You'd think it was their money and no ours. Now we're supposed to elect him and direct him and how to spend your fucking money. And he promises that they will. Like renationalising the utilities, the Labour Party. And the minute you get into the office, they just go, oh no, that's my money, I'm not spending it. I don't want to pay tax. Idiots. Absolute idiots. Economic illiterates. You wonder, how do they get into politics? You know, how do they get into... We should have the cream of the crop in Scotland, England, Wales and Northern Ireland running our parliaments. Instead, we've got the fucking dregs of the barrel in England anyway. Couldn't scrape any lower. Right. That leaves us just one rag to put up, and it's on an entertainment story too. So let's get the star up. What's the star got for us today? Ruby Wax stamps out jungle romance hopes. Show's over. Ender star admits H not her type. Not her type? Wow. I wouldn't think she was that active these days anyway. She's a bloody museum piece. Saying that, I'm getting there myself. But I suppose even the elderly deserve love. Even the elderly deserve love. I have to say, I think Ruby Wax is quite funny. I didn't know she was in EastEnders. I'm assuming it's EastEnders they're talking about. But I don't watch television. So I don't really know what it is Ruby Wax is doing these days. I think she was doing the comedy circuit last time I looked. But hey, to be a politician, you don't need any qualifications. That's very true class action. Because I've never seen such a useless bunch of tools in all my life. Than what's on the front benches at either side of the hall in Westminster. Yeah. No real. No real. So apparently Ruby Wax is really getting into a relationship with somebody called H. There you go. As if you were interested. Right, well that's it for this week, folks. Yeehaw. Another weekend's upon us. When I get to sit and watch car programmes all weekend, in between watching the news and reading the news. Get a wee bit of time to enjoy myself. And being a truck driver, I like machinery. So in my downtime, when I'm no busy reading the COVID report, which at this point in time has got me banging my head after fucking wall, I like to get a YouTube video up with vehicles in them. Okay. Right, that's it for this week. Eyes on the prize. I think Reagan Elite's up next. So nip out to his channel, give him support. I'm going to get my shoes on and go and pick up the wife because she finishes early on a Friday. So you lot have a great weekend. look after each other. And if you can, stay away from the news. Unfortunately, I can't help but stay abreast of it because it would drive you in the twist. So, eyes on the prize, folks. And for the other one, independence, independence, independence. Catch you all Monday morning, 10:30. Don't be late.